Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast infused with hip hop. I am Wood.
Made daily with organic, farm to table, localized, neuralized, sterilized, Scotch guarded for 2020 repellent, available online, shipped via Amazon, not available on Sundays.
My bad.
Broken Pencil Logic. You stay
Trash.
I'm Suave Burgundy.
Straight boo boo.
Garbage.
I'm doing something else to make sure this show goes smoothly, and I did that.
Unbridled ineptitude. just an awful showing.
We should have started off with a boo. Is what we should have did. But
For real, boo this man. Boo, hiss, boo. Ah, man. Welcome to episode 251, Randy's
251 in this business.
How y'all liking the new digs? We done redecorated the aesthetics. You know what I'm saying?
Smells fresh.
You feel me? Got the blinds that are operated by the iPad. You know, a real modern feng shui.
Hey, I got a quick story here, real quick. Before we get too deep into the conversation here, because we're gonna start the clock in a second.
Indeed.
Show as always is sponsored by Swervin Vega Audio, Swervin Vega Pro Audio, SerwinVega.com. Gary Henry, what up? Swervin Vega Pro Audio for all your pro audio needs. Anything from studio monitors, headphones, voting equipment, like your retrofitting your motorcycle, all that good stuff. Sir, the Lil Yachty. SerwinVega.com is the website. And also VitaHermosa.com. VitaHermosaCigars.com coming soon. Vita Hermosa Cigars, premium cigar brand, premium cigar experience. Vita Hermosa, it is a beautiful life. Also,
indeed it is. Yachty can't get you no swag either. I don't give who you hang with.
It's funny how you don't even know the story I'm about to tell. You're hearing this and watching this Friday, April 11th. Year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
2020.
I got 5 on it.
Got it good. All right, now you see this. Pause.
Yeah, it's a dope shirt
because the green screen effect, but
yeah,
that's a real QR code. If you're able to scan it, cool. Now, I tell you that, show you this, because
the same one is above each one of our heads. Pause on our direct right.
Absolutely, over there. This, well,
right there.
That way.
Other side, other arm, your other right.
Whatever, you see it. It's you know what QR codes look like. During the NFL's big game this year, Liquid Death had a very
cut the check.
Not yet. We're getting there.
I mean, we mentioned them. Just cut the check.
They had a very peculiar ad, and their ads are always peculiar. And because they dropped the QR code, me and my infinite wisdom, I already had a phone ready, so I'm like, let me see. First thing pops up is, because you're one of the first 50 to scan this QR code, you get some free swag.
Okay, cool.
You see it.
Like, do you know how, like, to be one of the first 50 on a
most watched program of the year,
a telecast with 60 million viewers? That's dope, though.
Hey, mad comfortable too. So
I like that.
We'll
have to look into that when we expand the product line.
Yeah, I'm saying the reach out's already been already been handled. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool.
The sound quality drop off. The way I got this cardioid pickup pattern for you. You know what I'm saying? It ain't doing what it's supposed to. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Actually, so.
He's fiddling his sticks. Pause.
But no, it's doing what it's supposed to do. All right, that's it.
Here's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know, and I asked you this before we got started, but I want all of the pencil pushers to hear this explanation.
Why do BC.com, BrokenPencilBC at gmail.com, at BrokenPencilBC on all things social, at BrokenPencilBC on what?
Everything.
And
everything.
Go ahead.
I want to know why it is my friends, my family, my side that be at the coffee table feel the need to gaslight me when they have a specific end result they want to get. Like if they want me like to really put on and go off and have one of my classic moments, or they really just want me to go in, they feel the need to gaslight me into that mode, into that frame of mind, instead of just saying, Suave, this is what we need from you right now. Can you deliver? To which my answer is always, yeah, cool. The assignment is the assignment. I don't need to be gaslit, but my friends, my sahas, my family, my homies feel the need to do this. And I asked my saha, my co-defendant over here, to what is my right.
It's on your screen. I'm on your screen right here.
Yeah, on the screen. And yeah, just yeah, like
let me give you an example, pencil pushers, of what he's talking about. If I were to jump on here for seemingly no reason and tell Suave, you acting real good Tri-Terry right now. Suave, how would you react to that statement?
I would raise my eyebrow like Rocky Maivia in '98, and then I would proceed to browbeat you over your line of questioning and or accusations. Like, first of all, are we good? What did I ever do to say that I'm acting good Tri-Terry-ish? Then I would need clarification on what aspect of good Tri-Terry's soiled and unsavory past am I partaking in right now? If you're saying I'm filming myself in my home, that's my business. What I do with my wife is that's my business, and I would thank you to stay out of it.
The energy that you're getting right now, pencil pusher, out of Suave with that hypothetical response is a minutia of what I would expect if I did it in a real world environment. But it wouldn't be for his benefit; it would be for mine, and for yours.
Selfish bastards. Every last one of you all. Selfish, ungrateful bastards. Well, for absolutely no reason. And see, I had to explain to him, like, hey, I get it. Some people like sugar because of the rush that comes after and the energy, until you have to have that sit down with your primary physician.
And as I explained to you, Suave, it's a good idea, or it sounds like a good idea on paper, to take a 7-figure payday from Mike Tyson. But when you come out in the stretcher and unable to speak,
like, they don't realize the irreparable damage they do every time they gaslight me into a reaction. Like, look, what I need you to do is just say, hey, Suave, here's the assignment. Here's what we need you to deliver on. Are you able to do what needs to be done? And I'm going to analyze the situation, see what the best mode of attack is, and then I'm going to act. Plot, plan, strategize, organize, activate. That's how I go.
Like it's a Black Panther party. All right. Do we want to put 60 minutes on the clock?
I mean, if you want to, if that's how you really feeling about it, then yeah, sure.
We'll virtually put 60 minutes on the clock.
I see what our recording time is at right now, so I know what 60 minutes from now looks like.
I do too. All right, 60 minutes on the clock, please.
Bing bong.
Your time starts now.
Okay.
Chic Flair
got pan-seared on both sides by a young chef, cordon bleu style. Look,
fricassee, flambéed, and butterflied.
I asked this question I did ask this question to us, our friend group, kind of on some not really serious, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Is what happened to Charlotte on SmackDown karma for all those years of steamrolling all of the people that she had put in front of her or fed to her all these years?
I don't know if it's karma or if it's just like great timing, because
I think it's a combination of both, to be honest.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Giovanni, not Vinci. Forget him. Ludwig Kaiser. Name. I hate the name. Let's just start with that. I hate the name.
We know why too.
As a talent, amazing talent. He
lives the gimmick.
He lives the gimmick. He fits and put him to the T, and reminds me of Glass Joe or even Don Flamenco.
Damn, I never thought about that.
It's like both of them, right?
Hit the bell for yourself.
I don't mind if I do. Barry Horowitz. Yo, so
yeah, okay.
So I never really cared for him to be the person I want to win. In fact, I watched for him to get his ass beat until Friday night. Going forward, I only want the pop.
Pause.
I've talked about people like this over the years, and off the top of my head, I can't remember who the last person I said this about was. But it may have been Jacob Fatu, but I've said it about other people too.
Okay.
Keep the exact same gimmick. Don't change anything. If you are a heel with heelish tendencies, keep poking the eyes, keep pushing the referee, keep doing nut shots, pause, all of those things while being a face. And
I agree.
And Ludwig Kaiser right now is in that space to where because of something that he did not even do, is in the space where he could get away with it long term.
I'll go as far as to say there's a WrestleMania match that's been made. It's a fatal 4-way, and it's just a regular fatal 4-way. I would have said Kaiser deserved to be in that match +1, whether it's a mystery opponent or whatever, which would have been perfect. 5 plus a mystery opponent, that mystery opponent being Aleister Black, for the Intercontinental Championship, and make it a ladder match.
Come on, man. Take it back to 25. That's the first thing I thought too.
If I was booking and I was cooking, that's what I would have put on your plate.
Which Aleister Black is going to come up in another conversation later on. But we in all of this, we're dancing around Charlotte Flair.
I mean, because long story short, Charlotte has become the cougar in the nightclub.
You don't go here. Why are you here? The crowd. You
don't fit anymore.
We teach lessons on the Broken Pistol Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast infused with hip hop. We told you years ago that even though we're talking to Pencil Pusher Massive, this is an audience of one. Our conversations with each other and with you is with an audience of one. Charlotte lost sight of that the minute she opened her mouth to say one thing to Tiffany Stratton last Friday. And you know that because every time she tried to say something and the crowd gave her disdain, and she tried to address the crowd as what appeared to be a babyface in mass, as opposed to one person. As a professional who has won the championship 14 times, sorry to interrupt you, who's won the championship 14 times and has been in this industry over 10 years, if no one has ever told you that no matter how many people are in the arena, you're only dealing with an audience of one, they have failed you, Chic Flair, and your father failed you for not telling you either.
So I'm not even gonna get into that part. I'm gonna attack this from a different perspective.
Go, please.
Because I've said this like I don't know how many times on this show. Until you are ready to sit down and look at an alternate presentation for what Charlotte Flair is as a character, you're going to continue to get these responses. Here's why. The shtick has gotten old. Because we're at a point now where she's almost on an Undertaker schedule. Now, injury, you can't blame her or fault her for that. But when you bring her back with the exact same presentation you've always brought her in with, where she's in the main event or she's in the marquee match for WrestleMania in a title match, she hasn't been on television in 9 months.
Injured, gone, vignettes for return to the top of the card, expect a WrestleMania match and or title match.
And it's like, okay,
every damn time.
At some point, the original Becky Lynch got stale and she had to become the man. That's the greatest example I can give you of like, if you change the perspective, you change the outlook from the talent. Charlotte Flair has been the same Charlotte Flair the entire time. I'm the queen. I'm the opportunity. I'm entitled. You're not as good as me. I'm going to
division runs through me. I'm the reason for the division.
I'll stop you when you start lying. And for a certain group of people, that is completely okay. We're not that group of people.
We ain't them.
we would like some complexity to the presentation of the character. Okay, another perfect example: Big Dog Roman Reigns versus Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
Two different people,
two different streams of income, two different perspectives. One is like an unappreciated punchline. The other is like Mount Rushmore. If you were to change the perspective, it probably would help everybody. But because you are trying to shoehorn a round peg into a square hole, get reactions. You don't add any complexity.
Am I talking out of turn when I say that Tribal Chief Roman Reigns is the reason why Big Dog never got over? Is because that's the Roman Reigns that we needed at that time and didn't get?
The Roman Reigns we always needed. But again, that audience of one that used to be in charge had an outlook. Same way with Charlotte. The audience of one had an outlook.
Same audience.
That outlook has transferred even with the transfer of power. You only want her presented in this way, and there is an expiration date on that type of presentation. She's gone through some things, and you can see what she's going through. If you were to deal with the complexities of what she deals with in real life, like she went on Sherry Shepherd's show and spilled her guts about her real life, I think more people would empathize with what she looks like on screen as a character if she lived more of real life on screen in character, instead of trying to mask it by saying, I am in charge. You're just a placeholder for me.
Stop being Rick. Start being Ashley.
Bing bong. But because of some of the physical changes she's gone through, people age. I'm not trying to body shame or ageism or any of that, but you can see the difference. There's a stark contrast between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair when you see them on camera. Period. Yep. Charlotte cannot talk that 25-year-old Tiffany Stratton talk. You know why? Because Charlotte's not 25. And she shouldn't. She should not talk that 25-year-old talk. She doesn't need, conversation she was having with Rhea Ripley when the idea was maybe they were going to do Charlotte Ripley 3. The approach was just like, man, we are tired of this. Like, it was like another song.
It was like Sheamus and Orton on Raw.
Okay, for people in our community, people in our community will 100% understand this analogy. Charlotte Flair is Lauryn Hill.
Oof.
People who love Lauryn Hill love Lauryn Hill, but
to the death they will love her,
right,
in all her tardiness.
But you do know there are some flaws that come with it. If you buy a ticket to the concert, she might not show up on time. If at all.
She might show up.
Might not show up. You going and the songs you gonna get, there's one album. There is one album and then a group album.
You're gonna get today's interpretation. Well, no, there's two group albums.
Okay, 2 group albums, 1 solo album.
But you're gonna get today's interpretation of the songs that she performed on the solo album.
So at some point, you're gonna be able to say, if you've seen her live, even if you love the show, at some point you're gonna be able to say, I've seen it. And once that point gets here, typically that's when you create something new.
I've seen it with my then pregnant wife.
See, because you're a family man,
and we didn't stay for it.
That's
Saw a young Janae Aiko.
Perfect. Janae Aiko got a couple classics under her belt and is always making new stuff. So that's perfect that you mentioned her.
We're talking. She opened up. We're talking 2012. Like she didn't even have a name. She was.
So this is pre Blank Fairy.
Yep.
Reproductive Organ Fairy.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic project. My God.
Yeah. And she got the right one when she got Big Sean. I'll tell you that much.
Just everybody just chill.
Like if you want to retire and that's what you want to do for the rest of your life, hey.
But hey, that is the.
But yeah,
that's the energy around Charlotte, and she got cooked for it this time. Just like when she had to end up slapboxing Nia Jax in a real life match, she got what she asked for.
But I will say this: getting cooked is one thing. Getting pushed to the point to where Tiffany opened up the can of verbal whoop ass and asked her something that we all know, but we didn't need to hear, or didn't know we needed to hear about Charlotte being 0-3 in marriages. That begot a stray slug to one Ludwig Kaiser, who had one of the meanest comebacks I've ever seen on Twitter, which was so Chic Flair made mention about is that the reason why Ludwig is in my DMs, which first of all, cringy as hell to have Charlotte talking about somebody in her DMs. Like just that phrasing, considering the conversation of what got her cooked to begin with.
Hurt people who hurt people. No syndicate.
We hurt people.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's the type of time we're on. Like I get it. I understand.
But Ludwig replied with what did he reply with? It was Shawn Michaels talking to Linda McMahon back in like the 98.
Oh no!
Don't flatter yourself was the direct quote.
Oh no! No, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, so
I knew there was a response made, but like some of this stuff, I'm not gonna follow everybody's beef into. Like I got money to make.
That got buried in your text messages. I sent it to you. He took a screen grab of Monday Night Raw with while he was in the ring with Linda McMahon.
That's clever.
And Shawn Michaels' direct quote was, "Please do not flatter yourself."
You can't.
And he added Chic Flair.
Look, I understand everybody has different tastes when it comes to the type of human being they like. As far as like, what's attractive to them. I just at some point everybody has to have that come to Jesus meeting where they sit. While I still feel good about myself, while I still have self-confidence, I have to be honest with me and say, you know what? This demographic over here is no longer my target. I am more mature. I have grown. I look different than I did at 2022. So now it's time for me to focus on a more mature audience and a more mature presentation. You're not always going to be the cool kid. At some point, you become the adult in the room. And when you're the adult in the room, you conduct yourself that way. You can be an adult and still be cool. You don't have to be a child. You don't have to chase your youth to show anybody that you have value or that you have any type of extra cool factor. You can be cool by being comfortable in your own skin. Actually, that's the definition of cool. Being comfortable in your own skin and any environment. And this is what my co-host was trying to gaslight me for this episode. So okay, blame him.
Not this. There's
no. You getting the whole episode because we had the conversation before this started. So everything that happens on this episode is your fault.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm not mad at that.
But I gotta blame the people in the back writing this stuff for Charlotte because at some point, I mean, you gotta have some culpability to it too.
What is the one thing that you and I over the last 7 years have agreed upon happening when Charlotte Flair's buttons are pushed?
She takes advantage of people, or she shoots
in the ring in real time. Yes.
Yeah. Anytime something does not go, according to plan, or someone, I guess, under delivers in her eyes, She going with the extras. That's how the slap boxing started with Nia Jax because of a botched spot. They weren't on the same page.
Turning the slugs and me talking about the Flair liberties.
Yeah, taking liberties. And everybody not, what have I said on this show a million times? Everybody not just gonna let you. Everybody not just gonna let you take advantage or shoot your slugs or do your thing because of your name and or your standing in the company. Somebody gonna slide your goof ass.
So we know that Charlotte Flair, for the most part, her upbringing in terms of training for professional wrestling and sports entertainment came through NXT and Sarah Del Rey. What's Albert's name?
And all of this sucks because she's such a great in-ring talent. If it was just about the in-ring, you know, let's be real. She comes from a great pedigree, great stock as far as a performer. It's all the other shit you have to deal with.
Yes.
Like father, like daughter.
So let me ask you this though. If you like, and Lodi also trained Charlotte Flair here in North Carolina, mind you. Let me ask you this, Suave. Sarah Del Rey, mean individual in terms of like history, like not mean as a person, but like pedigree, mean
that we know of. I can't vouch for nobody in these days.
Well, there we go. The pedigree in terms of what they brought to the table, like mean as in respectable, right?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Okay. Are you aware of who trained Tiffany Stratton?
No.
Anderson.
Which one?
Anderson.
Arm?
Ken.
Oh. Well, then there's that.
Also, Greg Gagne. Before she went to the PC.
Yeah.
So I said that to say this. I would never have pegged Tiffany Stratton to be one to be, equipped to go mano hand to hand with someone that's going to distribute liberties at nauseum or at will, right? But if I'm going to put my ducks in a row, knowing who Greg Gagne's father is or was, rest in peace, and Mr. Anderson and his track record, I'm not putting anything past the people that a person that's trained by those individuals as opposed to people that are trained in the PC. Because in the PC, you're taught to be professional. And I'm not saying that Greg Gagne and Ken Anderson don't teach people to be professional, but they're going to also teach those without hands to have them.
If you take your first bump at the PC, chances are they're going to teach you the corporate way to do things and handle things.
They're not going to teach you to fight. I've never heard anybody coming out of the PC learning how to fight.
No, you had to know how to do that before you got there. you had to know how to throw hands before you got to the PC or do some extra training because that's not part of their curriculum. Here's what's like. It's a generational thing and that's going to be a reoccurring thing for the rest of this episode.
Boy,
Charlotte is I don't have her exact age in front of me, but I would assume
39.
She's 39, so she's a millennial. Fringe millennial. Tiffany Stratton would belong to not Gen. Would she be Gen Y or Gen Z?
Tiffany Stratton would be Gen Z.
Energy, okay. So let me put it like this: Charlotte,
I believe, would be Gen Y. Yes, Charlotte's Gen Y.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so Charlotte's Gen Y, but her parent is a baby boomer. So I'm just saying, that's where your influences come from. So there's going to be a certain level of entitlement, and there's going to be certain things said. You can see it in the personality that she exudes on television. Gen Z, to put it mildly, they have no fucks to give. When it comes to slander and going back and forth and shooting slugs and air quotes clapping back, Gen Z doesn't have a ceiling or a floor. They will go as low as necessary and they will go as high as the law allows. So you can't just bully people.
Yeah, this is grouping Gen Y and millennials in the same, but still, I mean, and may be the same, which is regardless.
There's subtle differences.
Yeah, subtle. But Tiffany Stratton, by all definition, intents and purposes, definitely Gen Z. That's actually what I'm trying to say is that that part's accurate as hell.
Right.
So much so, one of the most redeeming qualities I've seen with Gen Z is the fact that they will go balls to the wall, specifically with millennials / Gen Y, because they're so close, but feel like they're so much better.
Bing bong. And then true millennials who are usually influenced heavily by Gen Z. Their siblings are Gen Z. I mean, there's Gen X. I'm sorry. Their siblings are Gen X. Maybe even their parents. We had a lot less. Everybody was a lot less sensitive at the time, so you had to have thicker skin. There were some jokes that made it through the gate that now would get you absolutely canceled.
There's
and
a whole era of conversation that we could never go back to.
Ever. If you had to be there, if you know, you know.
Shouts out Doc Will.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a different code of conduct. So with millennials, we just as savage as Gen Z, but it's reserved about when we activate it because we know and have forethought and foresight of what could happen if it goes too far. I don't have a filter once you gaslight me. That's the other part of it. You gaslight me in a certain direction, I don't have a filter anymore. I have to like manually set it so that I don't get myself in trouble.
Gen Y and millennials are a bridge demolition. Gen Z are tornadoes and earthquakes.
And I don't even like being grouped with Gen Y like that, but I get it.
No, not saying y'all are the same. It's the same mannerism as it relates in comparison to Gen Z. Like there's a thought process that's involved. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm right here with you.
Fast forward.
That's enough about Chic Flair.
Yeah,
hopefully things get better.
Way too much energy there. Speaking of SmackDown, we had when you're so good at your job, no one believes you even in a moment of truth. And we had the dubious mispleasure of watching KO come out and basically tell us he's done for the next 2 to 5 years and making us believe it. On top of that, it also put Randy Orton without a partner for WrestleMania. First and foremost, KO, you've given us some amazing work, especially the last 4 months. If you've been injured since before Survivor Series, bro, you not only are you first ballot Hall of Famer, I would put you in this year, whether you came back or not.
I understand the sentiment. I don't know if I go there, but
there's another conversation to be had about Hall of Fame too. So, but yeah, just sentimentally speaking, yes. Thank you for what you've done and your sacrifice, because man,
indeed,
you don't deserve it. Your family doesn't deserve it, and everybody's in for a long road ahead, especially with you having a special needs child.
In any talent sacrificing their stepping through the ropes to sacrifice any bit of their personal or their physical health for our entertainment. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Just, when you start doing stuff away from that environment that, sours us on you as a human being, I mean, you earned that. But this is not KO's situation. Here's my question, because I've seen some people asked about KO, but the way they responded, in particular, Carl Anderson was asked about KO and whether or not he thought this was a work or just asked about him in general. And the way Carl Anderson came back and answered that question gave me the idea that potentially this could be a part of the story. I don't know it. I haven't done any research. I don't know one way or the other. But what do you think about the prospect that this could be just a part of building the WrestleMania story?
Let me tell you something. As serious as Aldis sounded, as serious as the couple of reputable sites that we actually deal with reported immediately afterwards in a moment of in shock.
Indeed.
Prisoner of the moment, maybe. If this is a work, this might be the greatest one ever. Because we're talking 2 to 5 years on something that has retired Edge, took Cena out for a year, retired Arn Anderson. He was the first one to have this surgery, but he didn't have it to the technology that's available now. Kurt Angle.
I completely get what you're saying in context. Thing is, if it is a work, you're not going to get 2 to 5 years. You're going to find out in the next 2 weeks whether or not this is, a work or not. Typically, and that's the only thing that would lead me back into saying that potentially this is more real, because you didn't leave yourself a real window to execute the work to its fullest potential.
Nor have we seen anything from Sammy.
Which I don't think he would. I think he's just earned some time off. He may be nursing and licking wounds and things of that nature, or he really truly just earned some time off. Either way, I don't think you bring him back into this situation because he's selling the after effects of the last match with KO.
Elimination Chamber, anything goes.
You know what I'm saying? And then thinking about if KO is out there with that type of neck injury with the ladder match he had with Cody, bruh, just the ending spot by itself.
Cody and the anything goes match, bruh.
Like back to back, those were your last two. Like you went off the wall for somebody with some serious neck damage, and someone who has participated in that.
Never in the history of ever has someone broke the glass and still shot threes and made it.
And then there's that. So until we see something different, we're going to treat this like it's real. Since we are treating it like it's real, number one, get well soon, KO. We'll see you soon, or we'll see you down the road, or however they like to phrase it. Number two, we have literally 10 days. 9 if it's on WrestleMania Saturday.
Bro, that means next week we got to do, who ain't going to win? Golly.
I'm glad you've just joined us. So in the next 9 or 10 days, essentially, we're going to have to figure out a dance partner for Randy Orton, because Randy Orton not making WrestleMania doesn't seem American, especially when he's a healthy Randy Orton. So who can we put in that position that makes sense?
All signs point to Nick Aldis for a couple of different reasons. One, it's amazing that the authority figures in WWE right now, Nick Aldis and Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, are both former NWA World Heavyweight Champions. Like that within itself is a Triple H fan moment. It has to be.
It's an Easter egg.
Nick Aldis will I think Nick Aldis will give you the better match of the two. Scrap Iron wasn't that, he was a technical wrestler, but he was more of a grappler than he was a technical wrestler. Nick Aldis is from that British cloth. There's a reason why they put the belt on him in TNA. And also the 10 pounds of gold too. I think it will make a really great matchup, size-wise. The fact that the majority, if not all of the current WWE audience don't even know what Nick Aldis brings to the table from a match perspective.
Indeed.
But they haven't used Scrap Iron in that regard yet. So I don't think they will use Nick Aldis ever in that regard. And I think it's a miscarriage of justice. It's a travesty that they don't. That said, I don't even like the idea of Aleister Black being his opponent, other than the fact of saying that we got somebody for you.
They at once upon a time, back when when Aleister Black was essentially looking for people to go challenge, they both expressed a desire to have a match with each other. That's the only thing that kind of adds, and you have to be deep in the weeds on the internet to know that. So that's not necessarily what I would say builds a WrestleMania match. At this point, this juncture, it's like if you don't have time to build a story, you literally have this SmackDown and the go home to build anything, which is like super unfortunate. So to me, that feels like when you start reaching into your bag of legends and Hall of Famers that still have in-ring prowess to try to execute some sort of who's available to fit that mold. Because I don't see just pulling a random off of the roster and saying, "Oh, okay, get in the ring with Randy Orton at WrestleMania." You setting yourself up for, stupid.
Obafemi, Javon Evans, like anybody from NXT, it just reeks of stupid. Mustafa Ali, even though Mike Santana, like they're not. Those names right now aren't, because like the last time we saw Mustafa Ali in the ring with Randy Orton, that's when we got the Samoa Joe body bag award. That was the night he got crowned.
You need somebody with a name. You need somebody that makes sense. Miro is recently been released, so he would be an option. But again, it's like, am I excited about that? Especially, you're probably gonna lose the Randy. Like, unless there is a deeper story that gets told in that, you're losing. So it needs to be somebody who can come in, give a great match, and not be hurt by doing the honors.
Nothing. Put nothing past any. Well, okay. I'm sorry. Let me back up because there was a different WWE. We had Johnny Curtis at the time, Fandango, aka JDC. Now, defeat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania in his debut.
AJ Styles is busy. Which it's happened before, and that's one of those kind of like how AJ and Edge were. It was like you expected it to be monumental, and for some reason it was just good, not great.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's busy, but injecting Randy into that story in some way would give him something to do, and it would make sense because he has history with everybody involved.
And it immediately puts him back into the conversation of getting number 15.
Right. So it's not necessarily, I don't want to make it a three-way, but I'm like, him being involved in the finish, maybe turning on both, who knows? But that would be a spot that I think everybody would be okay with that. I'm scrolling the roster to see, if there's any possibles over here.
I can't think of anybody. I want to see somebody from the outside come in.
This is where Lesnar would have come in perfect, but that's over with. You heard he took a picture with a fan, which is something that almost never happens. And the fan asked him whether or not he was going to come back, and he said, "Man, I'm retired. I'm done." And Lesnar's one of those people that if he says it, you kind of believe it because he done pulled in enough cash. He ain't got to do nothing that he don't want to do.
And a number of different ways.
And all he wants to do is hunt and kill. Mello, nah. I'm still scrolling. No, I don't think I want him in a tag match either. Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania is in question because of real glass and an accident that damaged the eye. I wouldn't swap out and have him with the Damian Priest because again, that's just a match. There's no emotional investment into it. Still scrolling. Finn Balor's busy.
Anybody in? I don't know if he re-signed or not, but I tell you somebody who I wouldn't mind seeing in the ring with Randy Orton for his WWE debut if it were to happen.
I'm listening.
Jeff Cobb.
Oh,
that would do numbers.
We would want to see it again. That's one of those like.
It's a deep cut, but it's like one of those. It's a holy shit moment for.
That's not WrestleMania. That's like the Raw after.
Okay.
That's New Year's Day. That's not New Year's Eve. If you had enough time, you probably could have built something with Karrion Kross.
Yeah, he too busy. He too busy with AJ right now, man.
But they're finna have a blow off on Monday because Logan Paul and AJ is the move for WrestleMania. So if Karrion Kross got to doing that whispering in the ear, if you had 2 or 3 weeks, you probably could have got something out of that.
I think Kross is going to be around AJ a little bit longer than that.
Possibly, because Logan Paul doesn't do week to week, so something to do once this is over. Kaiser, we've been talking about Kaiser. That'd be a good spot for him.
We get exactly what we want: a good match and a Randy Orton go over. But we also, I'm telling you, the next time we see Ludwig Kaiser on TV, it's going to be to a monster pop, all because of Chic Flair.
That's for the crate diggers. I guarantee they'll be sitting in the top or they'll be watching in television. The pop's not going to be that huge. I know what you're expecting. This ain't the Attitude Era crowd. Everybody in a WWE crowd is not hip to the game.
Okay.
Scroll. The reason I'm not 100% with the Aldis pick is because we know because we've seen Aldis wrestle other places. We know he can go. I don't know how much sense it makes for Nick Aldis's first match in that environment to be something where he goes 20 minutes with Randy Orton, who's a 15-time champion?
14. Like,
him being in a suit all the time, just look, we as connoisseurs know that that's a good look. The casual fan or the regular TV watcher who has never seen Nick Aldis get active, if that's the first time you see him get active and he's wrestling a clinic, does that not take something away from Randy Orton in their eyes? Not ours, theirs.
Yeah, I think it would, simply because Randy has never wrestled a clinic. In fact, Randy's biggest character flaw, which to me is not a character flaw, because actually I'm surprised he's had the injuries that he's had the last few years, is the fact that people said he was too smooth of a wrestler. Yeah. And you can't. And to me, styles make fights, and Randy's a very smooth, just classic professional wrestler.
Blame your mama for not giving you good taste. Don't tell me I'm too good at something. Like, do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
If I'm that good, then everybody else needs to step it up.
Get better. Oh, you too polished of an MC. Suck it.
Stop rapping.
That's my, because if I take my time recording and I'm a perfectionist, I have a perfectionist gene, and it shows up in my craft. Why am I being penalized for that? Touch grass.
While we're on this,
Shane McMahon.
Nope. Let me. In fact, next.
It looked like Solo don't have a match, so maybe you could crank up something right there. There's history with the bloodline, but again, I don't know. That's probably your best bet. The Miz ain't doing nothing. Ciampa and Randy had been going back and forth forever on social media, so that would be another crate digger situation. But Ciampa's trapped in another tour DIY
closet.
Yeah. Ooh, we don't want any involvement with the Wyatt Six because they haven't been on television in years.
No. Like, no, we got not one but two bad matches out of the late Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. No,
everybody just. Yeah, and I've scrolled the entire roster at this point, so it would have to be someone. Where's the alumni section? That's what I need.
Jericho walked out on Dynamite last night, or Wednesday night rather.
No, and no.
Yeah, I agree. No. I don't want it.
No, and no. The only person who has WWE tenure that I could see in a WrestleMania spot in TNA would probably be Ziggler.
That'd be dope. That'd be a hell of a match.
Joe Hendry's still champ, right?
Yep.
That would get a pop, but it wouldn't make much sense.
Unless you put the belt on Randy.
I mean, and that would get him. That would be number 15.
You see what I'm saying?
So okay, boom. I think we just fixed it.
Say his name.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I believe Joe Hendry gonna get his ass RKO.
Absolute fact. I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. Put it on night one. Put it in Wembley.
And literally put it anywhere on the card.
Doesn't matter.
Anywhere on the card. It's gold.
Write
that down, because if that comes to fruition.
Hey, Ramon, you know what to do.
Cook it up. Get that wrist work
with the whip game. So yeah, that's our pick. We're gonna have Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton gets number 15.
All right. I move away from that real quick. We'll come back to, do we have anything WWE left? Yeah, we do. Got a couple of small tidbits.
All right.
I'm gonna read you a tweet real quick. I'm not gonna tell you who it's from, because forget that guy. It says, quote, obviously I thought by now, Shane, you would understand what it's like to be a heel. Fans like myself hating and booing and giving you the heat is what fans, quote unquote, like myself is expected to do when reacting to heels. I roll. The reply comes from the person this was directed to. Gang, what up, Shane Taylor?
Yeah.
Quote, the majority of you social media chumps think that talking shit is a one-way street. When that energy comes back, y'all fold like faster than origami. We told you it's either rep the set or expect disrespect. If you can't run with the big dogs, stay your puppy ass on the porch.
You want things to be one way, but it's the other way.
Marlo.
Look, the Wire is the greatest show ever made, and if you don't, know
there's
why.
Gems. There's too many gems sprinkled in there.
So much life advice,
like life lessons,
just so much of it. But yeah, like this is a very much a Gen Y, Gen Z thing where you feel like as a paying customer, you have a right to not only be disrespectful, but the person you're directing the disrespect at is just supposed to accept it because you bought a ticket. So we have this culture of people who feel like they can heckle players at NBA games. They can say whatever they want to NFL players, just any level of professional sports, because you bought a ticket, and you bought a ticket that's close enough to where they can hear you. You can say whatever you want with zero repercussions. That is not how life works. That is not what your ticket paid for. Your ticket paid for you to be in attendance. Now cheer, boo, do whatever you're going to do, but just know you as an individual have to be responsible for the comments you make, for the moves that you perpetrate, and for the actions that you engage in. That's just life. You have to be responsible for the things that you do. And sometimes, no, not sometimes, the majority of the time, this current generation and this current climate, they go too far on purpose with the guise of you should just take it because you're getting, you get money, or because you're rich and or famous, and you should just take it. It comes with the job. No, it doesn't. Disrespect is not a prerequisite for any form
anything.
Anything.
So tell me one thing in life where it's okay to expect disrespect as a payment for a job well done. Did you say something?
No.
I'm even searching to see if I don't. There's nothing that says that. Like,
no. So yeah, stop using I'm giving you heat, or I'm being a fan, and using that as
no. There it is right there. Stop injecting yourself into the culture of the industry when all you are is a revenue stream for the industry.
Jesus. Oh my God. But I can't say it any better. I mean, that is what it is.
Some people have said that that's where we are. I come to say, kiss ass. We're in year number 8 of doing this with respected people in this industry who rock with us. Why? Because we respect that, like the game.
We respect the hustle, respect the game. We walk and move in a manner that does not infringe on anyone's ability or their right to be a professional. Anything, if we got real life smoke for somebody, that is gonna come through. We gonna have real life smoke on this show and in that person's face, and there will be no excuses as to why we have that smoke.
There are people we have smoke with right now, and you will never say their name. Why? Because negative press is the best form of free advertisement, and bitch, you ain't paid us.
This, that, and the third. So people using air quotes fandom or whatever deranged situation they've concocted in their head and using that as an excuse to not only be disrespectful but downright disgusting. Those are the type of people I don't want to have any type of association with.
That ain't us.
That's not how we do business here.
All right. We're definitely going to overtime because we can wrap up the show, but we got the overtime piece
because the main event is what we came for.
Buckle your seatbelt. Naomi,
love it.
Listen, I'd be the first one to tell you I could not stand the idea of her as a heel. Did not like her work because she is certain. Saying things like freaking, I get enough of that with Rollins. I don't need to hear that. Like, drop that bomb. Like, you gonna get active, get active.
Everybody ain't to drop that bomb, though. You know that.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you when I turn the corner. Shouts out Tony Mays. Tony Mays, he posted something about her work being great, and I was like, jury's still out. I'm not there. I'm not sold yet. The next day, a vignette came of Naomi going backstage and checking that lump that she got handed by Jade Cargill. The way she reacted to getting the lump on her face, I'm in. I'm not sold, but I'm in now. Like I'm in the car. She can take me to the store now.
The pre-tape interview that they did, the vignette they put together of her basically explaining her heel turn was like, okay,
it was good work.
Again, you've changed the perspective on the presentation.
Yep.
Glow has a shelf life. If you take a break from it, you can always come back to it. But at some point, Glow would have aged out just because people are fickle. And,
caution tape is going to age out too.
It is, but by the time it does age out, we have another pivot move.
There it is. Exactly.
And shout out to the fact that the caution tape gear is maybe an intended or unintended homage to Owen Hart.
Owen Hart, yeah, man.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
if that's the cut, like if that's where the needle landed on the record, man, that's a dope ass record.
Masterful. Or maybe that's just me thinking too much into it. Like, but still, I caught it. It made sense to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the first thing I thought too was Owen Hart, but I'm not like, and of course she's friends with Natalya. I don't know if that's where she got it. Like if she didn't and it's coincidental, perfect time, great timing. The timing is like comedic. If she actually got it because of Owen and it is the homage to Owen,
masterful
kiss.
Either way. And now I need her to say enough is enough and it's time for a change.
Yeah.
Do another pre-tape. And that's all I need.
Freaking on it.
I mean, look, bro, she's on USA. We're not there yet.
Yo, who's this clown? Tony Sachere, Tony Maselli,
Tony Satcheris?
Tony Chimichanga. What is this guy's name?
I don't know.
The host of the WrestleMania roast.
I know the name.
Tony Marshmallow and Cheese.
No, I don't know. No.
I'm about to go Google this. I hope I butcher his name.
While you're Googling, I'll just say this. The roast community is always very hit and miss. Some roasts are incredibly funny.
Hinchcliffe.
That sounds like, free weight exercise. Give me 20 Hinchcliffs. But the roast community, you see what I'm saying? The roast community is already a very hit or miss situation. The most recent that I can draw attention to would be the roast of Tom Brady. There were certain roasters that were hilarious. Others were like, can you hurry up? Because this isn't going well. A roast in general is just a hit or miss situation. Hinchcliffe's appearance on Raw did not motivate me to want to see this. Mainly because there's a certain type of humor that does play in that room, but there's a certain type of humor, especially when you're going above and beyond and almost going out of your way to be malicious, that does not play in that room well. Now, I don't even think I was paying attention during the segment, but apparently a joke was made about Big E and made about his neck injury. Now, if you're gonna make a joke about Big E, cool. If you're gonna make a joke about his haircut, okay, cool. You're joking about real life-threatening injury that took place, and that's what you chose to make light of.
What did we tell you about this respect thing? No one's heard of you. No one's heard of you before this, and you go and take somebody that you don't know, who you've never shaken this man's hand, and you talk about something that happened to him that he did. It'd be different if he did it to himself. This was an accidental occurrence that happened while he was performing.
You could have just as easily aimed a joke at Titus about him falling on the way to the greatest Rumble. And everybody would have found it funny. No one would have been offended. For you to know that he had that injury, you have to know how it happened. And knowing how close it was to being, career.
The last time you mentioned his name.
Facts. So poor taste for one, and some people have this thing where it's like, if the target looks a certain way, they're okay with no matter what gets said. And those people are the worst people.
Yeah. I mean, go to any Comedy Central roast. Like Jeff Ross was like the master. Who else? Lisa Lampanelli, another good one. These are people who are mainstays. Now, granted, they did a different style of humor than what we're looking for this particular roast. But again, this ain't your mother's WWE. They say this is not Vince's WWE.
There are some people that are absolutely hilarious in the roasting community.
This guy ain't that. And he proved that if this was a litmus test for him on Monday Night Raw, he just proved that he ain't that.
So we gonna see. We gonna see.
We had more ways than one. He may FAFO.
That's what I'm saying. And that now I'm not watching the roast of WrestleMania in an attempt to be entertained, like ha, make me laugh. I'm watching to see is this gonna turn into a train wreck.
Yeah.
Is somebody gonna Dr. David Schultz this situation?
Boy.
This is why we watch.
El Grande Americano, hailing from the Gulf of America.
And some people are very much up in arms about this particular situation. And I get it. I get it, but I kind of find it hard to empathize. Here's why. There's still the same group of people that belong to that culture that when it was, we're trying to find out why black talent's not getting booked on these PLEs, found every reason possible to debunk that line of thinking, to say that you're just crying and you don't deserve a spot on the card. Any excuse that can be made to downplay the seriousness of the concerns of that particular part of the audience. And now, because it's happening to you, and the things that you like, now all of a sudden it's out of line. Now all of a sudden it's too much.
But it's the other way. What's
in the famous words of Finesse 2 Times, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Blank them.
What's Roosh's brother? He's down with LWO with the mask.
Dragon Lee. Where is Roosh?
He was on Dynamite, or I'm sorry, Collision, I think 3 weeks ago.
You know I don't watch Collision, but thank you.
Dragon Lee, up until the end of February, hadn't been seen on WWE programming. And now I don't count Main Event, or Superstar. Well, Superstar. I don't count Main Event.
Okay.
Since around or before Survivor Series.
Okay.
And there was no injury. For someone of that caliber to have been on TV with another company, to be part of NXT and get skyrocketed to the main roster the way that he did, and only to not end up on TV, but you have one of the, and they say wins and losses don't matter, but one of the losingest competitors who was a legit athlete who's surrounded by legit athletes, go missing for about a month and come back with a mask on and perform the same. I hate to call it a shtick because he's performing a shtick while Dragon Lee is actually doing his discipline and Lucha Libre, that is. How there's a word again. How egregiously disrespectful is it to do that, and all for the sake of entertainment? I'm not sure it's funny.
I'll answer that by saying, what company are we watching? Like, what does their history tell you about how they conduct themselves in relation to other cultures? This is the same company that at one point had the Mexicools. I know it's a different level of leadership, but a lot of those same people are still in the building.
Still there, yep.
And a lot of that same thinking is in the building. So, I mean, Crime Time was able to kind of break the mold on some of that stuff. But in the very beginning, Crime Time was being stereotyped beyond belief. Who they were as people started to shine through a little more, and they changed the perspective a little bit. But in the very beginning, those vignettes, way out of pocket.
That would be a deep cut too, to have Randy Orton go against JTG at Mania.
I mean, cause we advocating for get a check no matter what.
And the large majority, I probably say 90 to 95% of the viewing audience for WWE programming on TV hasn't seen JTG since Crime Time left, or it's actually since he left, because he was the last one from that era to leave. And if he were to come back, and this new carnation of Jay the God, no one would even realize it's the same person. It's such a transformation.
I can dig it. But yeah, just it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Blank them.
Hall of Famers. So are these going to be actual inductees, or is it going to be legacy inductees?
What's the difference?
So apparently legacy inductees are people who like, for the most part, the general audience would not recognize by name, so they decided to put them in the Hall of Fame without making it ceremonious.
I'm not sure how I would approach that, answering that question. I know they're posthumous inductions. I'm not sure if they're legacy or. Give me an example of someone who's a legacy induction.
Let me see here. I'm going to bring him up here now. Legacy induction: Paul Bosch, Bruiser Brody, Brickhouse Brown.
Oh, people like who've never been in WWE at all.
Not necessarily, because like Lord Alfred Hayes was in WWE. He's a legacy inductee.
Then yeah,
Dr. Death is a legacy inductee.
Yeah, I would definitely have to get an explanation from WWE about
from WWE. Yeah, I don't know what it actually here it is. In 2016, the WWE introduced a new category for Hall of Fame called the Legacy Wing. Inductees in this category are from several eras of wrestling going back into the early 20th century. All but two inductees, which are Hisashi Shima and MSG Network creator Joseph Cohen, have been inducted posthumously. So that may be the catalyst for it, is someone who has been who has left us and then way like far beyond, being able to get hold of their family, things of that nature, just induct them for the sake of what they've done for the industry.
It could be that, and it could be some of those, like, you had the majority of your wrestling career take place somewhere else.
There was a lot of that. I mean, but again, these are territory wrestlers. Like I'll go through some popular names that you would recognize. Mildred Burke, it was just the subject of there was a Queen in the Ring.
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody, Paul Bosch, Brickhouse Brown, Haystacks Calhoun, Dick the Bruiser, Gary Hart, Lord Alfred Hayes, Ethel Johnson, Rufus R. Jones, SD Special Delivery Jones, who was in a WrestleMania match, mind you.
Yes, he was in the first WrestleMania match and set the record for the fastest pin
at the time. Yes, correct. Matter of fact, boom, there we go.
9 seconds.
The Strangler Ed Lewis, Hiro Matsuda, Boris Malenko, Chief Wahoo McDaniel, Pat O'Connor, the O'Connor role, sound familiar? Playboy Buddy Rose,
Playboy, how you
the man
Playboy?
What's his name? Buzz Sawyer, Mad Dog, Buzz Sawyer, Ray the Crippler Stevens, Luthez, Professor Tanaka, Luna Vachon, which that's egregious. Pistol Pez Watley, aka Shaska, and Dr. Death Steve Williams. There's more, but those are the most popular names that are on that list.
Yeah, I still don't have a clear indicator about what distinguishes legacy from traditional.
I would probably venture to say that those would be legacy inductees, and either way is well deserved. Kamala is the most notable on this list simply because he's had the most popular WWE career and was as a character. A lot of people don't realize that Ivan Koloff was actually a WWF champion.
Gotta have that third W.
Yeah, this back in the 70s. And so before he became the uncle of nephew Nikita, and a couple of episodes ago, Nikita's kayfabe twin brother Vladimir, the Russian Yak was his nickname. Suave, by the way.
Russian Yak. That sounds like some shit we'd buy next time I come to Carolina.
Hey, what you want to drink, bro? Give me some of that Russian Yak.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this man is living on the edge.
Oh man. And then Dory Funk Jr., Senior rather, which is the father of Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. So yeah, well deserved too. Former NWA World Champion.
Indeed.
All right, bro. I think that's the list. We got about 15 minutes to land this plane.
Oh, we are missing one. Everybody hates Jay.
Oh boy.
So this goes in line with the other conversations we've been having about people being sensitive to what they're sensitive to, but also being insensitive to everything else. There is this avalanche of hate that has been raining down on Jay ever since he won the Royal Rumble. It's like, for whatever reason, it was cool when he was like, wrestling mid-card, trying to become Intercontinental Champion, still doing bloodline stuff. Now when he's actually living his name and being in the main event, now people seem to have an issue with it. Suck it.
So much so that they took away the main event from him. That sucks.
It does, and we said even when he won the Royal Rumble, I'm like, if he's not closing the show, I feel like we've been robbed. I still say Cody and Cena, as far as a build to a WrestleMania main event, have underwhelmed to a certain degree. This last promo battle they had, okay, it walked it up a little bit, but I feel like for the most part they've under-delivered.
But so again, that was almost, by the time people hear this and see this, about 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
And now we're a week away from WrestleMania, and it just got kicked up, and we've been knowing about this main event for now at this point 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks,
and then the whole situation of Cena's had a very spotty appearance record. Like, he's supposed to make more appearances. He's got his tour dates have hit the internet. He's going to be around a lot more post WrestleMania, but we're building to WrestleMania, and people are wondering why ticket sales are what they are. It's like, look, the big players that have been in WrestleMania main events, I don't know if they're delivering like they have in previous years, and the ticket prices are sky high. You put those two things together, then of course I'm going to watch at home. Cosm is charging like $500 a ticket.
What?
2 people sitting second level at Cosm to watch WrestleMania for one night
at
$459.
And it's on a screen. A screen. This is you can't reach up through the screen and get like a dap from your favorite superstar. You can't yeet with Pat McAfee. $459.
That's before tax. That's
before
before tax or food. So keep it G. You can go to one of these warehouse clubs because they ain't cut us no check. You could get an 85-inch TV and food for the entire weekend and probably spend the same.
D&B. You can get drink, you can get eats, and you can play while you watch.
I like the fact that I have a new large TV after this. I got a take-home gift. But yeah, if you want to go the cheap route, you can go hit.
Yes, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I get a take-home prize after this. Like, I still have the TV once this is over.
Yeah.
And I get to watch the festivities. But it just is what it is. The build, in my opinion, has been but the hatred towards Jay, a lot of it is because you don't understand the culture. And people hate what they can't understand. And I don't know why that's still a thing in 2025, but obviously it is. And
even though this is a splinter cell off of the Bloodline, I guess, box set.
Right. That's good.
It's still part of the box set.
Yeah, it's part of the Bloodline universe.
Yeah, it's a relevant part of it, and will tie back into where you want it to in due time. Just not right now. There's a purpose for it.
I think sooner than later it's going to tie back in, but that's a completely different conversation.
But I mean right now, I mean like today, but like on April 20th and 21st,
it might mean something completely different when we get to May.
It can mean something completely different by the time we get to the Raw after Mania. What are you talking about?
Then there's that. But look, don't take it from us. Do your own Googles. But the amount of hatred and with no real reason, just like I've heard people don't like the word yeet, it's because you don't understand it. It's not the audience of one. And when the audience of one isn't you seem to have more venom and vitriol for the fact that it shouldn't be there. We sit through all type of stuff that isn't necessarily aimed or targeted for our potential likes and dislikes, but it's all a part of one big presentation. And for whatever reason, a dozen matches over the course of WrestleMania weekend, and because one or two of them have stories and or superstars that don't cater to your life view, all of a sudden they shouldn't be on the card. They don't deserve to be there, and they're going to be berated by you online because this isn't what I want. Touch grass.
Not everything is for everybody. Touch grass.
Keep it pushing. I ain't even gonna waste no more time on it. We've been doing this entirely too much, and you know why you're doing it. We just ain't gonna waste the time to tell everybody else. You know what you're doing.
Peacemaker season 2 begins August 21st on Max. All right, bruh. Yeah, now this is all that talk for this. This is a jam-packed episode.
Here we go.
And we ain't gonna spend too much time on this, but we got to talk about it.
We're making great time though.
Swerve, Booker T.
Yeah.
Swerve took time to go to Vlad TV, which Booker T did not do. Shouts out to Booker T for that, first and foremost. And there was this groundswell of lines being drawn in the sand, some for Booker T, some for Swerve, none for Vlad. Okay? Just ride with me here.
I'm with you.
Long interview, as Vlad typically does. And mind you, I don't watch Vlad interviews. In fact, the last one I did watch was New Jack. Rest in peace. But I had to watch this one simply because I knew we were going to be talking about it on the show. And the conversation came up about the fair treatment of black wrestlers in WWE. And he was misquoted as saying that he doesn't feel I believe Vlad was asking Swerve that he feel that that he doesn't feel is that the Swerve not feel that black wrestlers are treated fairly. And Swerve says he doesn't perceive their market value as fair. He says WWE doesn't perceive the market value for black wrestlers as fair. And in passing, Booker T, prior to this interview, said, and I don't know if you know about this, Wav, he said, like, it was oversold by Vlad in response to a direct quote. He said names like, and I'm paraphrasing here, names like Obafemi, Kofi Kingston, Bianca Belair, who've all been successful black wrestlers, and wanted to know what exactly Swerve was referring to, what he was referencing specifically, or was it something that happened to him personally? Because over the past 20 years, he felt that he had been treated fairly in WWE. To which Swerve's immediate reply to that was, or response to that was, and this is immediately after Swerve referred to Booker T as his good friend, quote, Vlad asked Swerve how he felt about Booker T's statement. Swerve says, and I'm paraphrasing this too, he didn't feel that he was Swerve did not feel that Booker T was being treated fairly when Vince dropped an N-bomb in his face.
Fair point.
It is a fair point. I'm not taking that away at all. When do we stop giving this clown ass dude a pass for stroking fires that don't exist?
Go ahead.
Because now the line is drawn in the sand between the two individuals that are the subject of this conversation because of this clown ass dude.
I think the conversation may have been just as heated if had he done it on Club Shay Shay versus doing it on Vlad. I understand your point, and your point is valid in the fact that here, the point I told you I was going to make before we started this, who have you ever seen do an interview on Vlad TV and be better off for it afterwards? Like, that's a real question. We understand.
Even New Jack was a net neutral.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we understand that he, as far as the grander scheme of the culture, he does not play into it in a positive manner. He is absolutely might as well just be COINTELPRO. But as an entertainer, as an entity, if you're not going on there, you're not dry snitching on yourself, just as a person, who have you ever seen go on Vlad TV, do an interview, and be better off in the aftermath other than Vlad? Nobody. Cat Williams did Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, did buku views, and was in a better position afterwards.
Booker T refused Vlad with receipts.
To his credit. Now, I understand, like, people who are getting that appearance fee, that's a revenue stream. So I understand your logic. Doesn't mean I would necessarily do it. The circumstances would have to be different. I'm not going to go anywhere and self-incriminate. So my interview is going to be different than another person who's living that life or portraying to live that life. If Boosie get in the bag every time he go on Vlad and does an interview and it goes, somewhat viral and keeps him in the internet loop, I understand it. Doesn't mean I'm going to participate, but I understand it. But at the same time, I can never say that anytime Boosie did an interview on Vlad TV, he was better off afterwards, other than financially.
The irony of us starting the show off talking about generational differences, by the end of this whole nonsense between Booker T and Swerve, and I'm not. Here's an unpopular take. Everybody is right. Swerve is right. Booker T is right.
True.
People who believe one way stronger than the other are right, except for Vlad's punk ass.
I get it. I understand, where my co-host is aiming his venom. Dealing with.
Go ahead, Swab. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just dealing with the issue of Booker T and Swerve. It's Swerve made a point, which was cool. You did it in the wrong venue. You took that conversation somewhere it should have never been had. I get it, and I understand.
I think it would have been absorbed better had it been in a different venue.
It's possible, but again, what we've been talking about, generational differences. More people from the newer Gen Z and younger, more of those people are watching Vlad because they don't have the same core values about that sort of thing that we might have. And that's partially our fault for not passing that on. So we're partially to blame for that.
You know what's crazy? So the whole reason why Vlad's fame came to existence to begin with was because of someone who we were forced to see on the other side of the line in the sand that we didn't want to see on the other side of the line in the sand. Rose. All this started with him.
True.
And it's because it was him, and no one gave a care. No one cared what happened.
And Rose drew that line in the sand and applied that pressure. And from then on, it turned out to make him more famous. And I'm not talking about Ross being more famous. It made Vlad more famous.
It gave him the monetary shot in the arm
to continue to do this.
Yes. He's a platform. What else? Give me another word for it. He's a platform. He's an outlet.
He's a launching pad. He's
all of the things.
I'll say all of those reasons is what makes somebody like Swerve say, you know what? I'm a wrestler trying to get more exposure for the company. I'm also an aspiring artist. There are a lot of eyes that are on Vlad TV. So I can see how he came to the conclusion that this is probably a good look for me because there are going to be eyes over here. Even though it's not the move you really should have made.
Being the professional that he is, I understand why he would not have stopped this. And I don't even know if he was in the mind frame to even think about doing so. During this interview, repeatedly, Vlad was trying to get out of this man how much his new contract with AEW was worth.
Because you want self-incrimination, you want sound bites, you want headlines. That right there should tell you why you probably don't need to be there because of the line of questioning.
Thank you. If someone's asking me, if I'm already collecting a check and someone's asked me about the bag that I got as a black man in a company where I am an outlier, I'm not the status quo. I'm not there. Like there's only a handful of us, and we all deserve the same amount of money because of our past, right? Or in the same cat. Because when AEW first launched, this show has been on the air longer than AEW as a company. Facts. True. We talked about the tiers of money in which people are getting paid, and Jericho was the tier, like the top tier. Like there was a whole tier for just Jericho, and then it was everybody else.
Right.
Cody included in everybody else. We don't know where Swerve is on that chain of command. All we know is
not our business.
All we know is perception. Max has to be above Jericho, otherwise he would be in Stanford right now preparing for WrestleMania.
again, this is part of we don't have any real pro wrestling.
That's
it. We don't have real pro wrestling media that treats it like a sport to where the perception changes, where you do know how much someone is signing for. Well, because AEW is a private company, they don't have to disclose any of that.
No, that's another piece. They're private, and I mean, all this is private anyway. But like, let's talk about the minorities and positions of power over there, like perceived positions of power. Swerve Strickland, Bobby Lashley, MVP Shelton Benjamin.
They're all employees or independent contractors. So position of power is subjective.
I'm talking about as far as talent is concerned, not as in like in an executive role, just as far as talent is concerned.
Okay, well, they look favorable on television is probably the better way to put it. But yeah,
there you go. I mean, Kevin Knight's a new one, but he's not going to be mentioned in the same monetary conversation as Swerve, Bobby Lashley, MVP, or Shelton Benjamin. I can't think of anybody else that would be leveraged in that same conversation as those four.
Okay,
which is crazy, considering there was at one point over 200 people employed in that damn company.
I mean, but we know the financial practice of the individual in charge is a different vibe,
and will continue to be.
But
all that to say this. Oh, and then another tidbit that pissed me off. This ass clown decides that he wants to start rattling off the names of black champions over the years in WWE. Two of them he mispronounces. Jacqueline and Kofi. How do you mispronounce Jacqueline and Kofi?
Because you know the answer to this.
I do.
I'm more concerned with I know where your concern about this is. It's fuck Vlad, and I echo the sentiment. My focus is more on the generational differences between Booker T and Swerve, and how this has gone off the rails to a certain degree. That's more so where my concern is, because I already know what Vlad is.
I really wish, and so after this whole diatribe or this conversation that Swerve had with Vlad regarding fairness in WWE, which led to the whole, calling out about being fair with the N word. Like, if they were friends before and Swerve bothered to even say that, recorded twice on the same interview, we go from that to a response to a sit down to a pay-per-view, which we haven't even talked about.
I mean, we have the utmost respect for Dr. Huffman. We've said it on numerous occasions. That's like a question that kind of has to be addressed. Like, did you greenlight it? Did you know it was coming? Because that's a generational thing. There is a generation that has an approach to that, where it's like anything that isn't a physical, violent attack, will let slide in pursuit of the bag. And like, if it doesn't physically attack me, doesn't put its hands on me, then I don't have to react to it.
It's very polarizing when the word is spewed from those that are not melanated, and they're depending on who you ask, the time of day, and what kind of mood that person is in. They may greenlight it or may not greenlight it, even in a social environment. Not to say that with money off the table, depending on who's involved, somebody may greenlight this.
And then you always have the option to say, you know what, I'm not going to participate in it. If you're gonna say it, you're gonna say it, because I can't stop you. It's your company, but I won't be a part of it.
There should not have been one person of color in that shot, bag attached or not.
But there was, and we've never had any type of explanation about it.
And I don't have any ill will towards Booker T. I haven't met the man.
Right.
Shouts out to Stevie Ray for being on the show. But we haven't had any interactions toward Booker T. Like, I won't have any ill will towards him. I would love to have a sit down conversation with him. I also would love to have a sit down conversation with Swerve Strickland. Because number one, we're not going to exploit either one of them.
That part, hit the bell on that. We not exploiting ours.
Like D'Lo Brown,
gang.
D'Lo Brown was gracious enough to let us have the most free conversation on record.
Facts.
because Shane Taylor was a very close second, and his was off the record.
That part.
The stuff he said on record was one of the best shows we've ever had. Now, I'd probably say it's like 1A for the shows we've ever recorded.
Top 3 without a doubt.
But the conversation we had with D'Lo Brown on the record was one of the most free
and genuine,
I can get my ass in some serious trouble conversation that we ever had. Out of respect for him as a black man, you, the pencil pusher, will never hear it in its entirety. Never.
That's how we do business.
Not as a professional wrestler.
We do business with integrity.
Man, listen.
That's just it. We do business with integrity. So we know that platform does. That was Swerve's first strike, going to that platform to have that conversation. Booker's strike comes from the fact that after that, they had a one-on-one conversation face-to-face, according to Booker. We only know that because he went on his podcast to tell everyone that they had that conversation and then to further explain his position and different things like that. If there is an issue on something between me and my co-host and we have a private conversation and come to an understanding, that will not be taken to anybody else's platform or even this one unless we both agree to it.
And I'd say this was a big mistake on Swerve's part. You take arguably the most important piece of a show that is not televised to make it, you pragmatically make it about yourself, which is respected because you give shouts out to people and tell people your story in your journey of how you got to where you're at. That's cool. I'll always respect the story. But to end this story, walk down memory lane, shouts out and respects and kudos to those who supported you by saying, and fuck Booker T. That's a direct quote. And dropping the microphone.
That's
not cool, bro.
So you matching bad look for bad look. Booker took a private conversation, and while not maybe putting all the details out, you put some of the details out with your perspective only. That's to me, that's a strike. Swerve's response, that's a strike because like why are we upping it? And then again, why are we upping it in a situation where you're in a prominently featured role? Half of and here's the other part. Let's keep it G. It was AEW show. Half of that arena was empty at the time he said this. Like you see nothing but open seats on one side.
That absolutely. So this is post pay-per-view. This is post Dynasty,
right?
We're talking like 12:30 local. No, I'm sorry, 12:45 local time because hell, the pay-per-view didn't end till almost 12:30. So it's about between 12:30 and 12:45 a.m. local time on a Monday morning.
So that means either half of the arena had already left or they were never there to begin with. If the crowd is that, and we're not on the air when you're saying this, so it's not like you're trying to cause controversy that could be played back later. This is fan cam footage. That's not the look you going for when though in that environment, in those surroundings. So I agree with people who don't like that. I understand the reasoning. If you want to say it, I understand the reasoning. If somebody took a private conversation that me and you had and went elsewhere with it and didn't include my perspective, you only did yours, yeah, my attitude is gonna be fuck you. But to say it in that place, in that spot, took away from everything you had done the 20, 30 minutes before that.
The world is small. Industries are smaller. And it gets even smaller than that when you have big people. They're going to cross paths again.
Without a doubt.
They're going to cross paths again. The relationship may never be repaired because now there's a generational line drawn in the sand.
And it may just be a situation where they view They view their actions from their generational perspectives, and they'll never actually see eye to eye. That is absolutely okay. It's okay for us to agree to disagree. It's the fact that we've done this in a way that fractures the culture. Because one, you took the first part of the conversation somewhere it should have never been. Then it was a downward spiral from there.
You're giving the wrong kind of energy to the wrong person, someone who's not deserving. And because it's going to someone who's not deserving, other people who don't deserve to see this kind of behavior are seeing it and running with it. Case in point, NXT this week, when the announcers are coming out to the ring, they're saying, fuck Swerve Strickland.
Because now because you've opened up this can of worms, you've invited this toxic ass culture of the internet wrestling community into it. So
all hell King Booker, fuck Swerve Strickland.
They start picking sides and have no idea why this is going on. We do. We understand the dynamics of why this is a combustible situation. The people in the crowd at NXT, they're choosing sides based on turf war about promotions. That ain't what this is. By any stretch of the imagination, that is not what this is about. So the greater issue gets lost in all of it because now it's become trivial. It became trivial because of where it started.
I am vehement when I say these words. It's really fuck Vlad though. I'm sick of this dude. Like I jokingly said fuck Charles Barkley seasons ago.
Yeah,
jokingly.
I don't understand where that came from.
This right here,
it's like a running gag with us.
Like that's jokes. That's jokes. Because I know where this started with this man, if I didn't know a lawsuit was attached to this, and I was in the same vicinity, like I'm not going to go out and seek nobody. That's definitely premeditation, and I'm going on record of saying this. But like, if like behind this, because this is like so much stuff he's done affected the culture. This is affecting the culture that we talk about on a weekly basis and have been for the last 7+ years.
Mm-hmm.
I would slap the shit out this dude, and I'm not a tough guy. I don't care what happens afterwards. I want him to feel my open hand with melanin, just shock the shit out of the DNA that exudes through his body. He needs to feel that. I'm not going to. Just for the record, I'm not going to.
Legally protect yourself. There you go.
Yes. Just know that energy is there and has been, but now more than ever.
We as a community just have to know that we have platforms that we can go to where your words and or your intentions aren't mangled for the purposes of entertainment. Utilize those platforms. Hell, this has been and will continue to be one.
To quote a great wrestling personality mind in the history of this business, also not melanated, Eric Bischoff, controversy creates cash.
That's cool and all.
How about you do something better?
What's your moral compass look like?
Stop dividing people who can bring generations together. Stop taking us back to dark time. I'm not talking about us as in black and white. I'm talking about us as in wrestling fans. You're taking us back to a pre-civil rights era with people on the same side of the damn street. Stop that shit.
I can't argue with you.
I'll say it again. Everybody is right. Two things can be true. Except for Vlad's punk ass.
Jeez.
Show at brokenpistolbc.com, brokenpistolbc@gmail.com, at brokenpistolbc on all things social, at brokenpistolbc on what?
Everything.
And everything. I'll be off my ledge for WrestleMania next week. We'll talk a little bit about Dynasty and the fallout from Dynasty next week. But man, like, if y'all have a difference of opinion, that's cool. You ain't gotta hate each other. Especially because the person who made y'all hate each other doesn't deserve y'all energy. Fuck that dude. That's why I've taken him to the house, man.
Pencil pushers. Like, rate, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell that friend to tell a friend. And then tell that friend again. Heads up.
It's your daily acknowledgement.
Pencils down.
Whole lot of fucking gang shit.